I am away.
It looks like you've been well and truly caught in the act, Mr. Shibata. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome all the way from Japan today, Nintendo President, Mr. Satoru Iwata.
Good afternoon, and thank you for taking a few minutes to allow me to speak this afternoon. I woke up many hours ago and many thousands of miles away. So I assure you, I won't take any more time than necessary share to my thoughts. A little more than 3 years ago, we at Nintendo began to think that maybe all of us in the video game industry were doing things backwards. Following the launch of Nintendo Entertainment System in 1983, our industry started to consider how we could improve on that machine. Could the controller allow for more variation? Could the processor create more realistic graphics? Could we challenge players by making games even harder? And these questions have continued ever since. As an industry, we always insisted that the most important step was to improve the technology inside the box. And then, trust that the best technology would win over the most developers, and of course, the most players. But early in this decade, we at Nintendo decided to begin attacking the problem from the opposite direction. Instead of trying to improve technology only for its own sake, or beginning by considering the desires of current core players only, we decided we could focus on any and all people regardless of their gaming experiences. What could we do to bring them to our form of entertainment? How could we attract these who didn't even care about us? Starting from that point, we began to make plans. Of course, consumers do not buy plans. They buy products. So, we began to turn our plans into game products. We began applying state-of-the-art technology usefully with innovation, not just liberally with existing methods in mind. Up until today, there have been 4 significant moments when we introduced new products which grew from these initial plans. The first was the Nintendo DS. As Tony has said, it offered a unique combination of player interfaces for handheld gaming. But alone, those interfaces would not have succeeded unless there were games designed specifically to take advantage of them. That led to the second milestone, the touch generations games like Nintendo's Brain Training and Big Brain Academy. Together, we consider these touch generation games an entirely different form of gameplay with an alternate appeal. Traditionally, games almost always rely on a sense of escape, a fantasy that lets you be James Bond or David Beckham, at least for a while. Touch generation's titles are different. They don't replace your real life, they connect with it. And new players began saying, yes, this is a kind of game that appeals to me. Next came the arrival of the Nintendo Wi-Fi connections last winter. More than 2 million people around the world have linked together for quick, simple, and free wireless play on their DS. Fourth, and maybe most dramatically, the first people got their hands on the Wii remote in Los Angeles at E3 this spring. For us, that was a huge week. What each of these moments represent is a bridge to the vast majority of people who don't play video games. These are all technology built for their needs and desires, not for these of engineers like me. Today, we introduce the fifth step in our strategy, our tangible plans for connecting the vast audience of non-players to Wii. Of course, this will be much tougher challenge than explaining the appeal of Nintendo DS. After all, portable machines can be taken anywhere. It is easy for their owners to say, "Hey, take a look at this," and a friend can hold the device and understand the appeal of the game in less than a minute's time. Game consoles do not travel. They live at home, alongside their display screens. And in almost every case, they are seen only by people who live under that roof. After all, most strangers will not feel comfortable accepting your invitation to come inside and try out a new game. To truly expand the total audience console game players, we decided to begin that process by increasing the number of game players inside the individual households. And to do that, we concluded it was necessary to frame the initial appeal not just in terms of games which non-players have avoided, but also in terms of television and the internet, two technologies where they probably have a higher degree of familiarity. And that led to our solution. The fifth milestone is in our audience expansion strategy. It is what we call the Wii channel system, unique to the Wii. When the Wii is connected to the TV and its power is turned on, the first thing a user will see is a Wii menu page. Each of 4 different screens contains 12 channel options. Of course, not everyone will be activated, but every user will have automatic access to several of them. First is the so-called disk channels. This simply is a button to activate either GameCube or Wii software loaded into the disk drive. Next are 2 channels free to all Wii purchasers, which begin to communicate its flexibility and fun even to non-gamers. Our onboard photo software is not out to compete with Photoshop. Its goal is to provide simple organization and editing of photos to let anyone easily create slideshow with their own choice of background music.